Man, this might be truly one of the darkest JJ chapters that we've had, and there is a lot to fucking cover within this chapter.
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
Also, by the way, thanks for 30k subscribers. That shit's literally fucking insane. That means the fucking world to me. Genuinely, thank you so fucking much. So here's the next fucking milestone. Anyway, listen, I'm sure you guys have all heard quite possibly the biggest point of this chapter here, and that being Gota's arrival. That's Gojo, by the way. Gota being Yuta piloting Gojo's body like he's some sort of mecha Gundam. However, before I dive into all that, I do want to talk about Yuji just a little bit here, because this chapter opens up with Yuji piecing up Sukuna's chest here. It even looks like he pieces right the way through it, because we see some slight blood on the opposite side here. But Yuji's thoughts here is that he's going to crush Sukuna's heart. But as he says this, he thinks of Choso, and the full panel says he'll crush his heart after that. And to me, that just comes across as if Yuji is just wanting to get even with Sukuna. Sukuna crushed his heart with Choso's death, so in turn, Yuji is going to do the fucking same here. And there is a lot, and I mean a lot of character depth within this chapter here. As I mentioned in the leaks video, this chapter is it did not absolutely disappoint with how in-depth it went and the character growth it gave here. But sadly, this is the last that we see of Yuji for this chapter. Yuji is unfortunately knocked to the side by Sukuna with the arrival of fucking Gota here. And I can't lie, this is where the deep parallels within this chapter start. This chapter for me was comparable to 236. The writing and the thematics within this chapter, they were simply fucking beautiful. However, the chapter, it left me with a grim feeling. It was very dark, and I'll discuss that a little bit later here, but Sukuna doubts what he sees, saying it's impossible, and then starts to laugh hysterically as he recognizes that it is Yuta Akatsu, calling him out by his full name and apologizing as saying, I didn't even think you were capable of going that far. And Sukuna is elated by the arrival of Yuta using Gojo's body here. Now, like I said, there is parallels in this chapter that come full circle, and they're simply stunning. Yuta started this story fighting and beating Geto, someone who was Gojo's best friend, only for Geto's body to then be stolen by Kenjaku. And when that reveal is made to Gojo himself, Kenjaku tells Gojo that he's sorry to tell him, but Yuta Akatsu cannot become the next Gojo Satoru. And lo and behold, we have that. And then there is something innately fucking insane about that entire parallel, to be honest with you. Gege has had this laid all out, and both Gojo and Geto ended up becoming bodies to be used against others for a grander plan of others. And that is an incredibly tragic turn of events here, because Yuta swore to kill Kenjaku to stop Gojo from having to do it again, but in his pursuit to do so, Yuta ended up throwing away his own humanity. Something that Kenjaku said within like the Shibuya arc was that he coveted his case manipulation and these exact circumstances, and this sentence, it's almost bar for bar what Yuta did to get Gojo's body here. He seeked out Kenjaku's case technique and these exact circumstances, even down to Yuta throwing away his humanity. It's like a small seemingly throwaway panel of a conversation that Yuta had between Ryu and Uro, where he talks about being blessed, and man, honestly, Gege was in his fucking bag right in this chapter as far as I'm concerned. But again, let me reiterate, I want to say this, a chapter doesn't have to make you feel good for it to be good. Like Chainsaw Man and Goodnight Punpun, they're all prime examples of stories that make you feel fucking horrible and dirty, but at the same time, you know you're reading something truly fucking incredible here. And that was genuinely the feeling that I got in this chapter here. And moving a little bit further on here, we are presented with a flashback of Yuta suggesting this plan to take over Gojo's body to the gang here, and to which Maki initially declines as it's just not an option, and Hakari also says vetoed. However, he does say unless if they're all wiped out and there is no other options, meaning this plan truly was a last resort. But I do think it's interesting how both Maki, Yuta, and Hakari have all been referred to as monsters now. We said that she wasn't going to treat Hakari as a human anymore. Yuta has now been described as a monster, and Maki was also described as a monster upon her arrival to the Cullen Games here. And there has to be something said about the discussion in this chapter and how seemingly casual it is at this point. Like, they're all confident Gojo can win, but even still the group is planning for the unexpected regardless of their faith in him. But digging deeper further into the chapter here, we see the super nonchalant. It comes across as if they're more worried about Yuta than they are about Gojo here. And it just sort of leans further into the fact that Gojo was only ever saw as like a non-human, someone who couldn't really be understood by everyone else. And just like he said back in 236, you can watch a flower bloom, but you can't really ask it to understand you. And this right here, it's where the chapter really delves into like Yuta's ascension. That's what I'm going to refer to it as here, because Kusakabe is concerned about what will happen to Yuta as a person, which is where Yuta tells Kusakabe they're up against the strongest fucking sorcerer of all time here, and if throwing away our humanity gives us a shot at beating him, we should throw it away. Does becoming a monster scare you that badly? And while this is all being said, we don't even get to see Yuta's eyes or his face in these panels, and I think it adds a little bit of depth to the scene. Like, you see it a lot in cinema or film. It's like used by directors to sort of give a darker feeling for it, like just letting the words and the actions speak louder than the facial expressions. But Yuta ends up exploding and frustrating here, shouting at everyone about Gojo. Like, is he not important? We've always pushed the burden of being a monster onto him alone, going on to further say, if he dies, one of us has to take that spot, and if no one's willing to step in, then I fucking will. Honestly, man, Yuta's growth and character development within this chapter is actually fucking phenomenal. Like, I'm straight up glazing here, and I don't even care. Gege was in his fucking bag for this situation. I mean, way back in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, there was a statement that was said that love breeds the most twisted cases when they were talking about Yuta and Rika. And now Yuta's love for Gojo has bred the most twisted fucking case of him taking over Gojo's body and literally potentially giving up his entire life, which is, again, we'll talk about that a little bit later on down the line here, but we do get this interaction between Yuta and Gojo here with him saying, if you pass, I'd like to take over your body. And Gojo, like everyone else, is nonchalant about the topic. He was literally saying, I'm not going to lose, so I don't really care, which is, again, a nice parallel to exactly what Sukuna said to Yorozu in their fight. For Sukuna, for Gojo to lose, it's unthinkable to them, so they don't care what happens to their body after that. But that being said, he is pissed off that Gojo really didn't give a rat's ass about the plan, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like Shoko at all. I'm just going to keep it a stack. This woman is the most unbothered motherfucker I think I've ever seen in the series. Like, when Geto defected and killed everyone, like, he killed a whole village, his parents included, she was chill as fuck about the whole situation when he rocked up. She was just like, yeah, it's the criminal, you know? She was so chill. Anyways, it turns out that it is very possible that Yuta is also a descendant of the Sugawara and the Fujiwara clan here, to which Gojo teases him, says, you might be even more blessed than me, which is a little callback to Yuta even calling himself blessed at the back end of the conversation between Ryu and Udo and himself. Well, Gojo tells him it would be pretty fucking lame if he didn't take advantage of all of that kind of blessing and all that heritage, and I've got a little theory here cooking up, but I think it's going to require a separate video, I think, here, because there's a lot of information, I think, and it's about Yuta detaining Rika's soul and his heritage potentially to the Sugawara and Fujiwara clans, but you're going to have to give me some time to cook that up. Anyways, it got officially confirmed within this chapter that the Gojo was indeed the dude who slaughtered the higher-ups here, and he goes on to tell his students to basically skedaddle, which they all say no, because he doesn't want to show them something gruesome, which to me I think is quite funny. I saw someone on Twitter mentioning that, like, Gojo's saying this and Maki stood right there. Maki literally has just recently murdered her entire family, but there's this little funny panel here of Gojo. He's realizing at this point he's raised students who are just as fucking stubborn as he is. But again, we're given some more lore into Gojo and his mindset, and man, Geto and his question of are you the strongest really fucked Gojo up. Like, Gojo right now believes that he himself has been left in the dust and there's nothing that he can do about being the monster alone, because Yuta asks him to not have that burden anymore. And yeah, this chapter was super, like, it was in depth, but also some minor information. We got Amai's curse technique reveal, and apparently it's sugar manipulation, diabetes. I really don't know, but he's basically a part of the medical squad who was helping with the transfer of Yuta's brain into Gojo's body. But we're shown some of the process here, and it's revealed that Yuta was using Rika to basically maintain consciousness here, which is where he decides he's going to swap into Gojo's body, and that's how we end up at this point that we're at right now. Also, there's a couple of other, like, few moments here. Like, obviously, they don't know what's going to happen with this 5 minute timer. Yuta can only use his copy technique for 5 minutes here. Now, there is a lot that goes into this. Now, the three options that we have here is essentially, one, once the 5 minutes is over, the body and the soul they can't maintain, and Yuta will end up dying. 2, Kenjaku's technique only needs to be activated once, in which case now Yuta is trapped within that technique forever, I suppose. And then 3, the technique is activated intermittently, which means eventually Yuta will die, just not within 5 minutes. But Yuta seems pretty content with all of these, and it is a very scary point for him to be in. I've seen a lot of people saying how they're kind of angry that Yuta just got Gojo's body willy-nilly, but that's not the case at all, because this boy, He's literally give up his own body. He's give up his life. Like, he's give up everything to do this, to beat Sukuna. There is a lot that's gone into this, and it is very fucking brutal. Like, as I said earlier, this chapter doesn't have to make you feel good for it to be a good chapter, but this does take us to the current point in time with both Gojo, or Gota, should I say, and Sukuna expanding their domains for what might be the final fucking time in this revenge fight here. And honestly, this chapter, it's beautifully done. Gege somehow once again managed to subvert our expectations in a way we thought we had figured out, but at the same time, we just completely fucking didn't. Like, again, as I've said, if you're angry at this chapter and the development, I fully get it. I get it. There's a lot of Gojo fans that are mad about seeing this. Like I said, the chapter doesn't have to be good for it. It doesn't have to make you feel good for it to be a good chapter, and this is truly a prime example. Most people wanted Gojo back, and I mean, Gege was listening. He was in our fucking walls and our floorboards. He was fucking listening, and we got Gojo back. It's just not in the way we expected. As for where the story goes from here, I'm a genuine firm believer that we are going to see the merger very, very soon. Like I mentioned in a previous video, on the day of the merger, the Six Eyes appears. And that was what was stated by Tengen when we were given like a little bit of history into Kajaku and everything. But this chapter, it was truly, truly fucking phenomenal. But anyway, listen, that's everything from me. As always, I can't thank you all enough for 30k subscribers. Genuinely. 13-year-old weeb would be kicking and screaming and kissing his pants right now. It's genuinely saying to me that 30k people pull up to hear me waffle the utmost shit and give insanely bad takes and really get theories correct. I mean, the Yuta theory, I kind of cooked on that one, low-key. I've been kind of cooking on that one for a while. They call me a madman, but sometimes even a broken clock is right twice a day. Yeah, that's the option that I'm sticking with. Anyway, enough of this soppy shit. Subscribe, because, you know, 100k by the end of the month, that's not gonna happen, but maybe the end, probably not. Anyways, go tell someone you fucking love them, go drink some fucking water, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Much fucking love, big fucking kisses, peace.